Hello, welcome to the developer stream for the month of July for GHPC. We are very late in the month, it's already August in some places, but better late than never. I am Josh Basuito, aka Action Scripter. I am joined by Kavi from the mod team, dressed in his traditional garb from wherever he's from. We have lots of cool stuff to go over. We've got plenty of new features since last time. The team has been hard at work. Everyone made a really nice push this month to get some new stuff out for you guys, and we will be dropping the new patch for the Patreon build at the end of the stream. It's all ready to go, I just have to click the button. So, we're going to start off by having a little chat with the team while we wait for people to show up. Then we will follow that by showing the new build, and then right at the end we will answer questions from the chat. So, let me go in and unmute my Discord. You guys are live now.
Hello.
We've got Waffle, we've got Harry, and we've got Kavi. Alright, so I thought we would start off by talking about our modeling process, because we've been showing a lot of new stuff, vehicle models and things like that, and some people have talked about why do we have low poly, why do we have low texture resolution, stuff like that compared to some other games. I thought maybe Harry could shed some light on that. So Harry, what's been our philosophy for modeling and why do we do what we do?
So there's a few sort of forces that act on our budget for tries and textures and stuff like that. One is we've got to actually make it all, and making higher resolution stuff takes longer, and as far as I'm concerned, we are just barely scraping by in terms of getting content into the game fast enough. I'd really like more stuff in faster. So because it's done by a very small number of people, we cut a lot of corners to get the content in quickly because we want the game to actually work. We're more interested, I guess, in making an armored combat game than a bunch of models. That's more important to us. So we that's the priority. The other kind of dimension to that is finding the actual people who can do this work properly. There's a it has to be an intersection of you need to know a lot about high poly, low poly modeling and doing it in an optimized way, but you also have to have that that real strong enthusiasm for the subject matter, because people want accuracy, right? They want it to look right.
Yep.
So finding those two things in one person is quite hard to do. So it kind of cuts our manpower down, because there'll be times where we try people out and they're quite good at modeling or whatever, but they just don't have the enthusiasm for the subject matter and they sort of don't get it quite right.
Right.
Or sometimes we've had situations where it's like they're really enthusiastic and they understand about what we're doing, but the modeling skills aren't there. So it's got to be both at once, and that sort of really cuts down our pool of talent that we can recruit from. So
Exactly.
It's been mostly me and Beast doing everything so far.
Yep, and you guys have been doing a good job. What I'm showing on the stream now is a screenshot of an example of our process. We get a 3D scan when we can. Even if they're not perfect, they still help with the shape. And then we start a block out based on that, making sure the proportions are correct, and then we do heavy research, look at photos, look at documentation, manuals, whatever we need to get all the details correct. So that it ends up with the full model being made pretty realistically, correct proportions guaranteed because of the scan. And so even though it's low poly compared to a lot of large publishers games, we have a very high level of fidelity, and we can go back in and add things very easily if we left them out by mistake or something like that.
Yep. The other component to it, which is like maybe just as strong as an actor on the spec that we've decided on, is basically we're making a game where we want to be able to see out to like 4 kilometers of forest, and we want it to run at a good frame rate. We don't want people to have the greatest computer in the world to do that, and most of our budget is probably going to go on terrain, because that's most of what you're going to be looking at while you're playing the game, right?
Yeah, terrain's very expensive to render.
Yeah, and we don't want to end up with a discrepancy where we've got these beautiful models of vehicles and stuff, like, you know what, say War Thunder, World Tanks, those kind of things. Like, they dump a lot of budget, a lot of their rendering budget onto their vehicles, which is great. But you kind of get this discrepancy between the vehicles and the scenery. And then once we got those vehicles, if we had those up at that fidelity level, we'd be kind of obliged to get all the scenery around them to that level as well. So it kind of, yeah, it's we're not going to be able to get 4 kilometers of scenery running
Yeah.
at that kind of frame rate unless we cut down.
Right. I do want to make a note as well, for those who haven't heard us talk about it before. We rely on volunteers for our photogrammetry for the most part, unless we can find a free scan somewhere that fits our purposes, which is very rare. So if you have a vehicle located near you in real life that you can go and take video of, walking around it and holding the camera at different heights, that will actually help us to model the vehicle. We can take your footage, we can run it through photogrammetry software, and we can produce a 3D scan like this one. This is a T80B that's on display in Russia, and somebody local to this tank went and filmed it on their phone, and now we have a reference model just like that. So when we add the T80 to Gunner Heat PC, we know that it's the correct shape, and that's priceless for game dev.
It's a lot easier than using drawings, as we sort of went into the more specifics of it last stream. But yeah, that's another part of it, like consultation on things. Doing the modeling stuff, we spend a lot of time like talking to, if we can find them, people who worked on the vehicles in reality, or rode in them at least, or, you know, people who have hands-on experience with them when we can. It's
Right.
kind of helpful for, you know, just to just ask some quick questions like,
Yeah.
what is this thing, like, in a photo?
Here's an example of what it looks like when we're processing it. There's a point cloud that gets generated. It can kind of tell, it can solve where the camera was for every frame, and then it will fill in the details and calculate the mesh based on all of these different angles, just running it through algorithms and computer vision stuff. It's really fantastic. I still can't believe that it works, but it does, and we use it quite effectively, I believe.
Yeah, we do. We get some errors sometimes. Like, there's some scans that, you know, you take all the footage home and you put it through to reconstruction, and you just get like a big tear halfway through the vehicle or whatever,
Yeah.
which is like, you know, it's
kind of luck of the
it's
draw
sad,
sometimes.
but
Depends
yeah.
on the lighting conditions. And we have a guide on this in our Discord, actually. If you want to help, go to the 3D Scans channel and look through the pinned items. We have fairly detailed walkthroughs of how to do it correctly. Per Van Hark, one of our members, wrote it up. He's been really good at doing this stuff and helping us process it. So, yeah, it's something that you guys can do that will directly help us, even if you're not able to contribute to the Patreon or anything like that. This is quite instrumental in helping us make new content, which is how the game gets done. So
It makes everything faster. So
Yep.
should we talk about the AAR stuff as well? 'Cause
yeah,
it's
so this is
easy
new
to talk
since last stream, isn't it? We added a lot of stuff halfway through the month. This has been a very busy month for us. We have made a bunch of new stuff, and we kind of did it in 2 batches this time. We didn't, front load it all at once and then do patches through the month. We actually hit 2 separate major releases. So the first one was getting the T55 shootable and giving it like a preliminary version of a damage model. And then the second patch dropping today will show in a few minutes. So the first thing we've got, let me pull up some pictures here. Okay. So we have a full damage model for the T55. We've got ammo, we've got internal components, we've got all of these pieces, and they work the same way you'd expect. The system is actually much more detailed under the hood than the public build, where the public build, you'd hit something, sometimes it would have a health value to it, sometimes it would be instant kill. The crew were just 1 hitbox on the torso, no wounding or anything. It was very simple. This is completely rewritten. We're supporting a new standard for realism. So when you hit, let me find a picture of the crew. There we go. When you hit a crew member, he has hit zones, internally, and depending on what specific part of the body is struck, you get different results. You can wound them, take their health down. You could take out a limb, kind of like if you've ever played Escape from Tarkov. They have a segmented body health system where you can lose your arm to bullet damage but still be alive and have to patch yourself up. So this is the kind of system that we're using now. We have instant kill hit zones, brain and heart. Cardiopulmonary stuff will heavily wound them and take them down really fast, bleed damage. So all of this is now more than one hit zone, and it's going to allow us to do health effects, combat first aid, all that kind of stuff. And so there will be more realistic consequences if you get your vehicle penetrated and fragmentation comes in and it just hits a limb or it hits center mass or whatever. It's all going to be different. So yeah,
I guess, like, to put it in context though, right, like, it's people were probably thinking in terms of like round based gameplay or whatever, where it's like your guy either dies or doesn't die, and it's sort of like it wouldn't make so much of a difference. But I think once we get some stuff where it's like a long sort of like, campaign or whatever rather than a single mission, it's like your crewman might make the difference between them being knocked out for the rest of the round or like proper dead and you don't get to use them anymore, sort of thing.
Yep. So this damage system, I'm pretty proud of. We've done a lot of work on it. We have internal fragmentation. The color now reflects the amount of strength in the frag. So you can see this is an ATGM impact that I got during testing. On the outside of the vehicle, we have a variety of fragmentation from the explosion. And on the inside, we have the heat jet and the SPAA from the penetration. And then it's all kind of like bouncing off the shape of the internal shell of the armor and ricocheting around, turning the crew compartment into kind of a blender situation. Probably not good for the crew. Now was an earlier screenshot where there weren't any crew ammo yet, but I pulled this in so you can see that we have that ricochet mechanic going on. We have full layout of all these different components, the fuel system, the engine, transmission, any kind of internal firewalls, wet racks, turret drives, the whole thing. If you hit that laser rangefinder, the tank won't be able to use the laser anymore. It's all tied to actual effects. So if you get machine gunned from the front or autocannoned, it can't go through any armor, but it takes out a periscope and your spotlight. Those things are now damaged. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to take away health from a health bar. That doesn't exist. But there are actual consequences based on the physical interaction from those rounds. This is going to be very exciting once we get the AI hooked up to it. Right now we don't have the combat AI or missions because we're taking the time to make sure the foundation for these mechanics is very solid. But once that gets back in, you'll be able to play missions just like the public build has, and they will be much more in depth when the actual shooting happens than anything we've had before. I saw somebody ask earlier, when are we updating the public build on itch? That's going to be a little while still. We're putting all of our development power into updating the Patreon build, because when the Patreon build hits the level of features that the public build has, it will be copied to the public build. And everyone who has the public build will get that for free. So support us on Patreon if you want to help us go faster, if you believe in the future of the project and you want to support it. But if you don't have the money or you don't want to contribute yet and you're still waiting, you can just download the public build, let it sit there. If you have it on the itch app, it will automatically update when we push an update to the public build. So you can just wait around and that'll happen.
We'll still love you either way.
Yes, we will still love you either way. But if you're a patron, we'll love you more. So let's see. Got some more screenshots of this stuff. So you've seen some of these on the slideshow during the talking scenes, but here's the after action view. The SPAA fragments are they're glowing now, kind of just a little cool effect. You can turn the X-ray on and off. So this is a exit penetration from a range target, and you can see all the SPAA right there. I've got different screenshots. Like here's a 9K111 system shooting a 9M111 ATGM. It hit this tank, solid fragmentation there. There's a hit straight through the turret of a T-55. I believe that was with M833, but I can't remember. So yeah, you can kind of tell what it's going to be like. Can SPAA beget SPAA? SPAA can beget SPAA if it pierces something, which is kind of rare. Let's get the phone off the desk.
People might be thinking, looking at this thing, we may or may not have noticed that like a lot of the components on the interior have more detail than we anticipated. Beast, who's not online right now, has done I think all of our AIR now. Oh,
yeah.
Actually, Martin did the BRDM, but we haven't implemented that yet.
Right, we have some vehicles that are not ready yet, but they're partially done. But yeah, the Beast Feast, one of our team members, he's done great work on these internal models. They are coming out to quite a high standard of fidelity, even for low poly blockouts, and they're allowing us to do very detailed hit detection, cool rendering, and so he's done some great work, and the armor as well. He and Harry are modeling the armor. In the cases where we have cast armor or other variable thickness pieces, we have the actual thicknesses represented, and then we scan through those when the shots intersect. So we're not chunking the armor out into sections and approximating the thickness variation. We're actually registering live how much thickness a round is going through, and then it's performing based on that number, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I guess like looking at the interior stuff, the AAR models, I think Beast kind of sneakily did this on purpose. He got them almost up to a standard where we could just tweak them up a little bit, and they'd work to sort of get the foundations for our interiors eventually.
Yes, eventually.
It looks like we're going to be doing.
Yeah, more and more it seems like we're going to inevitably have interiors one day. Not soon, not now, because it takes a lot of work and we need that effort in other places. But it seems like it's going that way. It's probably going to happen.
And if we do interiors, we don't want it to just be something slapped on. Like, we want it properly integrated with the gameplay. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, what's the point of doing all that effort? So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the big thing that we've been teasing is the M901 ITV. Cat's out of the bag. You guys know that we're including this now. There it is in all its glory. This is a model by Harry, just like the rest. And you will be able to shoot tow missiles. Angry Wally. Yes. Yep. Don't come after me, Disney. So this is in the Patreon demo that we're releasing at the end of the stream. And for that matter, let me show you guys what we've been up to. Just need a moment to start it up. Josh? I do have sound on.
Good.
I just need to transition into this new app. Let's see if there's any quick questions I can answer. Anything, Kavi, that you think I should address?
No, nothing yet.
Okay.
Good job shouting out to Beast, both of you. He's
yes.
done phenomenal work.
He has.
Probably won't even watch this.
Yeah, he'll watch it.
He's too busy.
I don't know if they have internet in Canada. Alright, so the hype is finally here. We are releasing version 2020-0731 at the end of the stream. So let's take a look at what we got. There are numerous new things going on here. To start with, let's pop a shot into the T-55 and see what happens.
We should look at the T-55 too, just in case anything's different on it.
I should, but you can see from here if there's something different on it.
Oh, are they not moving with ghosts anymore?
They are not moving with ghosts anymore. Those of you who have played the Patreon demo before remember that several of these vehicles would turn to face north at the beginning of the mission, as if possessed by ghosts. But we've asked Bob to please stop driving the tanks, and now they park the way I pointed them. I think Bob is still around here, though, somewhere in this level, or he used to be.
Bob is always around.
Bob is always around.
Don't say his name in vain.
Yeah, that's true. We have to respect Mr. Semple and his legacy. Anyway, so this T-55, if I switch to it, it has... Nope, that's not the damage model. That's the ammo Well, that's work in progress. It has...
Someone else has noticed something. On the top of the T-55.
Yes. On the top of the T-55, there is a DShKM, the DShKM. It is not functional yet. It will take a little bit of extra coding and ideally a crew model. So right now it's just parked there. It'll definitely be worth it. You gotta shoot down the helicopters with something, right? For now, I'm just gonna pop a toe into this turret, though. Okay, so this did some damage to the tank. It might be hard to make out the text against the grass, so I'll put it up here on the sky. The gunner is wounded, the loader is heavily wounded. I think the gunner can still... Nope, the gunner cannot aim. The gunner has been wounded to the point that I cannot aim the turret anymore. He is completely incapacitated at the controls. So if I shoot it again, because apparently once was not enough. And you notice in my damage round it says I hit ammo, or my damage log, and nothing happened. There's no explosions. That's because we're still working on the pyrotechnic systems. We're going to have things like delayed cook-off, fire suppression systems, so we don't want to do it poorly. We want to make sure it's good. Now they're both heavily wounded. Somehow they've survived because there's no shock damage yet, it's just ballistic. But there will be concussions as well. Let me hit it one more time in the front. Didn't get to the driver. Interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
He's very protective.
Lucky driver.
Yeah, let's hit this guy from the other side. Let's let Wally do something this time. So if I try to do it while they're moving, stop vehicle to fire. We now have that implemented.
Stow it. You're gonna break it.
Yeah, we don't have moving damage yet, but you won't be wanting to drive full speed with that launcher up because it'll break if you go over bumps and stuff.
Did you kill him? Yeah, you did.
I think I killed everyone. Let's find out.
Action's favorite phrase when testing.
Okay.
I was gonna say that, he's dead, Jim. Yep.
Driver killed, gunner heavily wounded, commander killed, loader in critical condition. Okay, I cannot do anything with this tank anymore. I'm clicking all the controls. It's completely immobile. The engine's still running and that's it. And if I were to shoot that, that would also go away. In fact... you might notice the sounds are different. And if you haven't noticed, you will in a minute.
Eagle intensifies.
We should probably explain what's going on with the sounds.
Yeah, so we have a sound engineer who's been working with us. And one of the things that the Patreon money has allowed us to do is get professional work like that done on the side when we need it. So these are new vehicle sounds, engines, and weapons that we've commissioned specifically for the game.
Should we say who it is? Some people might know.
Somebody who's worked on Arma, correct?
On Arma Mods.
On Arma Mods. Yes, I don't remember
Who
what...
knows what else, but...
What name does he go by for Arma Mods?
Laxman?
Yeah, so he's done sound overhaul stuff for Arma, and we've got him to work with us. It's very good work.
We should clarify though, the engine sounds they're just dropped on at the moment.
Yes, the engine sounds aren't done. We're gonna have variable RPM effects, different sound bands that cut in to give an authentic feel. Right now I just put in one channel essentially to start with, give you guys something to hear. but we'll be improving that.
What would happen
We
next?
also-
Sorry, what would happen next for the T-55? At what point is it killed? Or if you're driving the T-55, what happens when you're critically wounded?
So, by the rules that we've been using for the public build, as soon as the tank cannot move or shoot, it's killed. But that's going to get a little hazier now because you won't just be stuck in one vehicle. You will have the ability to switch out of your tank when it gets damaged and possess a friendly AI tank. Or eventually, we're hoping to add an option to join somebody else as multi-crew, but we'll see how that goes. So if your vehicle is mission killed, you'll be able to just leave it to the AI to take care of and go continue fighting. It won't ruin your whole mission. You won't get sent back to the hangar, anything like that. You will be able to proceed and fight on to try to swing the tide of the battle. Let's see what all this shooting has been doing to this tank. There was my first toe shot.
Oh wow. It barely even penned.
It
Oh, it did. Sorry.
It did
You didn't have the
pen,
X-ray
yes.
on.
So it had some ricochets going on. The mantlet blocked a lot of the spall. It actually didn't end up doing much to the gunner. I think that just missed his skull. The helmet doesn't count as part of the model. Second shot, same thing but lower. I hit a lot of stuff, and this would have exploded the tank. It would have at least started a big chain deflagration, and there'd be fire shooting out of the hatches and stuff. But like I said, that's not implemented in this build yet.
Yeah, that'd probably kill everyone.
This, it looks like the wet rack overperformed. I'll have to tweak that. This one, rip to the driver.
Oof. Oh, jeez.
Same thing for this, for the other turret crew. And that would have ignited ammo too. It's all very, this whole tank is full of things that can explode and catch fire. So it's...
Guy got a metal jet through his spine.
Yeah, it's lucky for this crew that their tank literally cannot catch fire right now.
That's a lot of spicy spaghetti right there.
Yep. I forgot to look at the T-55 again after I shot it, but the engine would have been completely dead. No sound, no movement, smoke. Because I put a couple of rods through it, and this one didn't make much fragmentation on the way in because that turret's pretty thin in the back. So it was like a direct shot. Looks like it bounced off the breech too.
Yep. And all that spawn fragmentation on the other shots, if we do end up getting infantry in, that'll start making a difference then. But
yes,
for now, it's mostly just the internal stuff.
Correct. And we do have the infantry ATGMs. You saw the tow. Let me try the 9K111 system. A little bit of lag. Okay. So this, we've redone the optics for it. This was already in the build, but now we have, thanks to some work that Waffle did.
Are you gonna do the LARP correctly? No, you gotta...
It's too late.
He didn't launch.
Improper
Yeah,
procedure. God damn.
Yeah, so I'm told that ideally, when we use this system, we're supposed to line up on the target, then aim up to get clearance, and then guide it back down.
According to the manual.
Yeah.
The manual knows all.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a pretty common thing. I feel like I've read that about the tow as well. They would fire it a little bit higher so that they could drop it down onto the target, sort of.
Yep.
I think to clear obstacles and stuff.
Correct.
If there's like bits of tree and stuff in the way.
I'm getting low frame rate right now due to probably the stream.
It's very strange because we just tested yesterday. And it was
we
running
just
flawless.
yeah. I usually get 60. Hold on, let me re-up this for a minute.
But in general, a little bit of an elephant in the room. We do know performance is not exactly the greatest right now.
Yeah, that's the thing about early access and work in progress is that when we change things, sometimes it breaks the optimization and then we have to fix it. And those of you who are supporting us while we do this. Thanks for your patience. This is part of the process of development.
Oh my god, thank you.
To put it in context, like a big part of what our optimization obstacles are is just the scenery. Like, because like I mentioned before, we want to be looking out to 2-4 kilometers sort of thing. It's a huge task to optimize that, and that's part of why we're down speccing the art so that it'll actually run at good frames, so people don't have to have a dodgy gameplay experience.
Right. I'm gonna attempt to use the Stadia reticle for this. I don't know if it'll work though. I think that's 18. I think it's designed for an M60, right? The height of the Stadia reticle.
I think with the Abrams, I don't know. The M60 is pretty tall, so maybe.
Yeah.
It's 2.7 meters.
Yeah.
Let's try this. Should probably turn on stabilization. Okay, so I overshot.
What's that? You didn't have stabilizers on?
Can it?
I think you should have had stabilizers on for those shots.
There we go.
Tough tank expert.
One of the best.
If people are familiar with the T55 in the build at the moment, they might notice that the muzzle has more segments in it now.
Yes, the poly count has been increased a little bit. You will no longer see polygons through the scope. Harry's been going back and doing little touch-ups on things where we can afford the extra mesh budget, which is really nice. Oh, I probably shouldn't let the T72 go unseen though. With the new sounds that we've got for that, and the BRDM. Let's do BRDM first. So you guys might remember we had sound on the BRDM before, but now we have cool sound on the BRDM.
Probably need to round up a bit more. A few other ones.
You might be colliding with the light there. Or
Shooting your own searchlight,
Am I?
man.
I don't know.
Wow, I sure am.
Get good, man.
There's no damage model on this yet, so it didn't work.
You can collide with your own light, or you can shoot your own light, but yeah, no damage model won't be
It's
there.
unstabilized gun.
There actually is a damage model, we just haven't put it in.
Right, the damage model isn't implemented, it's just waiting. It's only so much I can do.
Just implement everything now, Josh, what the hell?
Yeah, man.
So again, the engine sounds that we've patched in, they're just like, we grabbed one of the RPM loops that we got from Laxman? I don't know how you pronounce it. And once we actually drop in a new sound engine, we'll be able to sort of blend a lot of samples and get some of the, like, part of what makes it sound right for driving around is like the sound of just equipment moving around inside the vehicle, and bits of foliage and little rocks hitting the outside of all those like immersion things. Those are all different layers that'll come in depending on what happens, but for now it's just we've taken one RPM of engine sample and just dropped it in there, just so it sounds a bit better than the we had before.
Right. You might notice when I'm firing from this view I get a delay in the sound. That's not a bug, that's the speed of sound taking a moment to reach me because I'm back here.
We got a pretty good question just now, Josh.
What was the
Someone
question?
asks if we're adding helicopters and if we're adding Tunguska or Shilka.
Yes, and yes. I mean, I personally love the Shilka, and we've had some experiments with air stuff. We're not showing anything from it except I don't know. I might have put something into the slideshow, just to be cheeky. But yeah, we know about air vehicles and how important they are for combined arms. We're going to do something with that, and if there's air vehicles, there's going to have to be anti-air, so yeah, keep an eye out.
You can probably guess what the plans would be though. Like, if there's going to be helicopters, we'll need something to shoot them down, and first of all. We're going to do things that can shoot down helicopters and also shoot things on the ground. I don't know. We're kind of, everyone's sort of fallen in love with the radar guidance on some of those things, and I think we're going to have a go at implementing those at some point, right?
Yes, that would be very cool, and we've got ideas about how to implement radar guidance.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it done properly in a game, like with the multiple stations and stuff.
Right, we might be the first.
Any consideration for putting in AI infantry?
AI infantry, yeah. We're gonna have infantry you can unload from APCs, do things like capture objectives in whatever mission type. There will probably be a random AI infantry eventually that you won't be able to play as, but they will be in the battle to give it that combined arms flavor. Alright, T-72. We've got some new sounds for this one as well, so I'm going to take a shot. And that's another new thing from our sound engineer.
People are liking the sounds.
Uh-oh. HSC AK-47 wants the barrel to go to the, was it ditto position?
I knew he was going to say that. We're going to do it. We're going to have the gun lock for reloading. Don't worry. Sorry I wasn't fast enough.
He talks about you all the time, the dev.
Uh-huh. You go, man. Always asking us for things. Okay. What did I forget? Did I forget anything in the build?
Yeah. Oh, not in the build. Okay.
Well, technically, I guess the extended range is new, but...
Yes, I guess I haven't specifically mentioned that yet. This area has changed. It used to be, what, 600 meters max? And then it's just a little hill and a cutoff. Now we have a nearly 2.5 kilometer range. You can fire all the way out to the end of it. It's the most fun with the missiles, in my opinion, but all of them work. And
the invisible wall is still there for now.
Yeah, the invisible wall is still there. You can't drive out there. Sorry. We don't really have it set up for driving around. Like, you could do it, but it would just be boring. Eventually, we're gonna add some new places, and you'll be able to fight other tanks. But we're working toward that. We're getting all the systems in place. I have to hook up the AI again, make sure that we tweak it a little bit, make it compatible with the new systems, make them a little smarter. So all of that is coming. There's only so much we can do every month, and we're working at a pretty fast pace, I think, compared to historically. We're pretty quick right now.
Still don't have a dedicated environment person. If you know anyone who would be good at it, that would be nice.
Yes.
Send them our way.
Terrain artist.
We'll give them money. We need it.
Particle artist. Both of those are probably the top priority right now. We know sound people now. We have our own modelers. Everybody's doing great work, but we have those openings still. So if you know somebody who's a pro or a very competent amateur and is interested in this kind of project, send them our way. It's info@gunnerheatpc.com. You can find it on the website, which is gunnerheatpc.com, and we'll see what we can find. I keep forgetting to aim up before I fire. Gotta do it properly.
Are we going to aim for making modern day city maps like Moscow, Berlin, or Warsaw?
Eventually, if we can.
We'll do it if you optimize it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess.
One mesh, just one mesh.
Yep.
One singular mesh.
One draw call. Whole map.
it'd be hard, and I guess, like, can we think of a context where there would be like a city thing going on? Like, we'd probably be more likely, if anything, to do like some sort of town in like Syria or something. Like, I can't think of many situations where it sort of fits the gameplay.
Well, we have tossed around the idea of hypotheticals. It's not something we're aiming for now. Again, if we get an environment artist who can really help us with this kind of optimization, that might still be on the table. But
I guess
right now,
technically the
that's
scenario we're doing is hypothetical, but it's like we know that there were plans to do it all here. Like,
Stopped by gun barrel. There we go.
It's a well-documented hypothetical, not a made-up hypothetical.
Mhm.
yeah. Like, we know everything that was going to be involved in that conflict pretty much, like, almost to the number. Like, we could, if we wanted to, we could have the exact number of, like, you know, T-64s and everything that were stationed on that border and have them actually slowly deplete or something. But, do we have more stuff to tease? Or
I do have something
Third-
else to
third party.
tease.
Kind of entered into the Q&A section.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting toward the end, but I do have one more thing to tease.
Ooh.
There's a certain vehicle.
Yeah.
which one should I-
Something that people have been waiting for. People are waiting for a lot of things, and we're working on probably all of them. But we've got one that's close to being ready. So let me pull it up here.
Beast.
It's your boy.
Oh, it's Canadian in the chat.
Welcome, Beast.
A little late, but I'm here.
Yep.
Better late than
Sorry, it
never.
is not the M51 Sherman. I'm sorry.
Sherman.
M51 sure.
Yeah, so we get this question a lot. Are we going to do World War II vehicles?
Not really. It's a game based in the 80s and later. So
We will probably do a Centurion at some point, which is technically
World War II-ish. Yeah. The thing is, there's priorities. So if we were to stop right now working on, the vehicle I'm about to show you, and we're say, oh, they really want a Sherman, they really want a Tiger, let's work on those, we would be derailing the progress of the game into its intended time period, and we would be wasting our time at the moment doing that stuff. We can always come back and add new things if we really wanted to, but right now our focus is limited. It keeps us on track, and we only have so much development time that we can spend. Everybody on the team has other stuff going on. Like, this isn't a full-time gig. We don't have an established company. We're crowdfunded, and we're doing the best we can, so we gotta make sure that we maintain our focus.
Yeah.
And it's kind of gameplay related too. Like, if you start putting in like sort of random stuff, it doesn't enhance the actual scenario that we're representing. Like, all the vehicles and things that existed in this kind of like ecosystem of stuff fighting each other, it all kind of has a purpose. That's like, they stop deploying them when they stop having a purpose. So if we don't, like, any time we spend on like a Tiger, for example, right, it's time we don't spend adding like a BTR, right? We don't have a BTR, which is kind of sad.
Right. We should have a BTR. We'll have one soon, right? BTR
Oh, hey,
60.
look at that.
Yeah. So this is one of the vehicles that I've personally been waiting for a while. It's not quite ready for this patch, so it won't be in the patch. But as you can see, it is in the dev branch, and it works marvelously. I don't have video of it, but it's a lot of fun.
But the sound, man, the sound.
The sound is good. I'll tease it when it's ready. We have the teasers channel on Discord. I'll be dumping a bunch of stuff from this stream in there that we just sort of kept hidden until now, and then I'll be dumping more stuff as it arrives. But let's show some beauty shots of this thing.
Broadly.
Yes, the Broadly, the Brably, the Chadley. We need that music. I would play the music, except it's probably not allowed on Twitch.
It's an outdated render, Josh. God damn it.
It is, unfortunately, yeah. So this is the model with changes from there. Did it go down?
Is that just me?
Just you.
That's fine.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah. Kavi would tell me if it was broken. Yes, it does have the flotation screen, because Harry is a beast So is Beast, I guess. Um, and we have two Beasts. Harry is very detail oriented in his vehicle modeling, and so he did an obscene amount of research into this vehicle. We have very high confidence in the authenticity of the model now. We looked at so many references. It took forever. He did a lot of work. I'm very happy with it, and I think you guys will be too.
There's some stuff I'm still not certain about. I mean, we need all the equipment that's stowed on those things, but that's going to be, that gets added on from a common sheet that all of them share. It's an M2. The M3 has the firing ports welded shut. That's the easiest way to tell.
Yeah. It might be hard to see here, but we even have the little rubber tube underneath the launcher that holds the wires. It bends and compresses as the launcher folds.
That's
You
right,
can
we
see
got
it
a
for
bendy tube.
That's how detail oriented this thing is. So,
That, gotcha.
yeah, can other games claim they have the bendy tube? I didn't think so.
Oh god, what are we getting to?
Yeah. Anyway, that's just an example of the amount of care that's put into these. We have a great team. I appreciate all of them. And to tease some more stuff, just real quick while we're here, you guys might be wondering, do we have anything besides day channels? We don't have this ready yet, but it's in development.
Yep.
It's looking pretty nice so far, I think. This is the M60A3 TTS in thermal imaging mode. And our visual coder, Waffle, has been doing some excellent work on this. I think he even went as far as to get a hold of a similar sized CRT monitor to what was in this tank,
God,
and then
yes.
display thermal footage on it to see what kind of distortion and color balance would be needed.
The madman.
Yep.
I'm a little bit of a nerd, sorry, but
Well, that's
Really?
how we get by. That's what really drives this. All of us are incorrigible nerds, and that's where our passion comes from.
We've also got an extremely good advisor on this topic, right?
Yes, we have several great advisors. We've got a thermal engineer who's working with us. She's been great. We've got a guy who knows everything about every Russian tank. He's been awesome. We've got all kinds of people. We kind of have an extended volunteer team almost, who have been instrumental in making sure that we do everything correctly. We show them work in progress stuff. They say, that's cool, but you should really change this because it doesn't work like that. And then we change it, and by the time it makes it to you guys, it's very neat.
Mostly fixed.
Mostly fixed, yes. The whole thing is a work in progress, of course. I occasionally get feedback from people or hear feedback out, through the grapevine about how we didn't do something correctly or there's a lack of detail or whatever. And I want to remind everyone, this is a project that's a work in progress. It's completely in flux. Everything that you see could be changed or revised by the time it comes out. It's not a reflection of the limits of our abilities. It's not a reflection of where we want to go with it. The public build has flaws in the fire control system behavior, the realism, pretty much every aspect of it. And that doesn't reflect on what we intend for the game. That is a preview. It's to prove that we're serious, that we know kind of where we're going, and we have the proper researchers and consultants and people who actually drove the vehicles, and we know where the shortcomings are and what we need to do. So rest assured, we understand that there are flaws and we will fix them. It's not something we're blind to. It's not something we're going to skip in favor of just making a game and doing whatever we want. We're serious about this.
It's like within reason, right? Like if I remember there's certain things where it's like, first of all, we need to be able to document it. We need to know that it's legit, and if we can get documentation for us having done something wrong, then we tend to fix it. Whether it takes a long time or a short time is, it depends on priority and everything. But we also need it to, if we can't make something fun, we'll have to alter stuff, I guess. Like, I don't know, what's an example? I mean, recovery vehicles is a good example. Like, yeah, they used a ton of recovery vehicles. and of course they have a place and everything, but they're very far down the priority list because it's going to be tricky to make that fun to play.
Right.
I don't know, is it, or like bridge layers, for example. There's bridge layers in Steel Beast, for example, which is really cool, but I kind of like, I don't know, it feels kind of phony not doing all that weird, those weird engineering vehicles and stuff. It's just, I don't know how we will fit them into the game until, the stuff that's important is the stuff that people want to play.
Right. Yeah. So when we're this early in a project, we have like, here's the whole game. We have like this much of it set in stone. And then we have all this room to adapt to what people like and don't like. That's where the flexibility comes in. What kind of other vehicles are we going to have? Are we going to have artillery? Are we going to have recovery vehicles? Are you going to be able to do tactical layer? Some of that, the answer is we don't know. It depends what we get into, what kind of feedback we have once we get the core features implemented and we're making an actual game out of it. That's... if you want to be involved in that process, join our Discord, keep track of our teasers, join our Patreon if you're so inclined, get it hands-on, and then you can tell us what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what you want to see. If you're a sim player and you really miss being able to do certain tricks with the fire control system, let us know and we'll implement it if it's something that we have the dev budget for. If you want to see a certain kind of feature of a vehicle, you say, hey, I drove this in Germany in the 80s and you guys should make this, let us know. That's something that we really appreciate, and we do things like that when we can.
The people who have come out and actually told us their stories about like their tanking days has just been awesome.
Yes.
Really killer to hear that stuff.
Yep, it's been great. Thank you, Miles, for the host. Unfortunately, it's ending in 5 minutes, so I appreciate the effort, though. ManyMilesAway, War Thunder YouTuber, cool guy. Yeah, I think he's been following along.
So what's the first prototype we're going to make?
The first prototype we're going to make is no. We're not about prototypes. We're doing...
The M1.
The M1. It was almost a prototype at this point, right? They barely had the M1 IP in the time period that we're starting with. But we do have the M1 in progress. I shouldn't show it, should I? It's too early. Nah. Okay.
Harry will give a shit later.
Harry will leave the project.
Should we dig up the BRDM AR real quick?
The BRDM AR. I'd like to show the model?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me pull it up. That'll be a cool little stream exclusive.
BTRDM 2.
Where are my files?
What the hell, bro?
That's something I'd say.
That's a Kavi's sentence right there.
Right? Oh yeah.
The green tank. That's what Kavi calls everything. Actually, I've never heard him say that.
No, he says like T74.
Yeah,
There's
I'll make up
some
shit.
crap like
I've
that.
actually heard that one. Yeah.
Yes, Kavi is our gauge on the casual community.
It's true.
Okay, so I'd have to dig a little bit to find the rest of the stuff, but here is, for example, the internals of the BRDM2, and this is coming soon.
Is that Paint 3D?
It is Paint
It's
3D.
Windows.
It's my default FBX viewer.
Oh my god.
Yeah, sorry to trigger you. I know you're a 3D artist and this is beneath you, but I'm not. So this is some of the stuff that's going to be inside the BRDM. We've got all the periscopes, we've got the gun systems, drivetrain, ammunition. What, Waffle?
We got a seat.
We do have a seat. I think that's to serve as an obstacle. It's not going to be like seat destroyed, the tank is dead, but it'll affect the ballistics and the fragmentation.
I think it'll come flying out if the roof blows off as well, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that really happens on...
I don't know if the
because they
ammo
don't
has
have that
enough
much-
power to blow the roof off.
Yeah, not enough fire in the vehicle to do that.
Right, because these are just basically big machine gun bullets, the 14.5, and then 30 cal. So I don't know. I guess it depends.
The welds would probably bust before anything else happened.
Right. And I guess some of that stuff we'd have to look and see if we can find a picture of a BRDM with the turret blown off, and if it wasn't done by an IED or something, then we'd say okay, fine, and we'd do it.
I feel like I've seen one with it like sort of popped up, not
Yeah,
necessarily
a
flown
skew.
off, but
Yeah. So one thing, one final thing that's happened is I've pressed the button while I was talking here, and theoretically, the build on itch for the patrons has updated. Let me go verify that real quick in my own library. You can manually check for updates if you have the itch launcher. Yep, there is a patch. It's now live. So those of you who have access to this through Patreon can now immediately go and download it and try it out for yourselves. And we hope you enjoy. If you find bugs, tell us on Discord. And yeah, have fun. We've got another month of exciting stuff ahead of us. The project's going well, the team's doing well. I'm very happy with everybody, and we hope you guys are too. Well, let's take a look at some questions. When will the free cam be fixed? From Per Von Hark. The free cam is fixed right now at this moment. If you go to your patron build and update it, you will find that it has no more bugs. It goes in the correct direction.
You know what else is fixed?
Sliding on slopes.
The worst bug in the whole goddamn game.
The worst bug in the game until this point. The tanks no longer slide on slopes when you're stopped. You can park, hold down, and you can fire all day, and they will only move with the recoil, and then they'll be stable. It took forever and some deals with the devil to make this happen, but it is fixed.
They say that it's probably someone's probably gonna find a way.
So, yeah, someone will find a way to break it, and even today I found a problem with it. Something was weird and the tracks would spin while the vehicle was parked, and I had to go quickly patch it. But you know what? That's all fixed. I trust Flamet's to break everything horrendously. That's pretty much his job now. And
Flamet's, I look forward to your bug report in an hour.
Yes, the flood of pictures in the patrons input channel of weird SPAA paths and stuff. Yeah, that's what the project lives on. Yeah, so this. You guys can enjoy the new sounds. I don't know if you noticed when you hit stuff with missiles now or heat rounds, there's an explosion, and it takes a while to travel to you, and then you hear it. You'll hear it louder if you're in an exterior position instead of interior inside a vehicle. I think that's pretty cool too. Just a lot of cool little details. Plus the ITV with its double toes, the new reticle on the 9K111. Just a lot of juicy stuff there. And there will be more next month. I don't know exactly when the stream will be during the month, but we'll announce it ahead of time like we always do. And stay tuned for more exciting developments in Gunner Heat PC. Any last moment questions before the stream ends?
Maluka, how do you say it?
Malyutka. I don't know exactly how to say it. That's just how I...
Malyutka.
Yeah.
Malyutka.
Yes. That will be on the BMP one. T80U is planned, Ryoki. We have all of the usual suspects coming.
I think Beast
producing
is
them as we can.
right?
I think.
I'm blocking it out. Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. BMP 1P with Spandrel, most likely Hellfish. Yes, I personally like the BMP 1P a lot, so I'm probably going to be pushing for it at least. And then of course BMP 2. You know, all the stuff that you look at a Cold War setup and you say, well, they have to have this, is probably coming. You know, Leopard 1, Leopard 2, all that.
Zach asked, yeah, FRG. You mentioned Leopard 2. Leopard 1 for sure is coming, right?
Yes.
We have scans of the 1A1 and the 1A4.
We do, yes. So we should be able to make a pretty good model with that, but we haven't been doing West German stuff yet because we're focusing on US and Soviet armor at the beginning.
It's if maybe we should get a map and explain why that is. Like, let me check something real quick.
Yeah, so the reason that we're doing US and specifically DDR, East German Russian tanks, is because we're focusing on the Fulda Gap for the beginning, and that area that we've chosen had a lot of US units and a lot of East German units that would have clashed in any kind of border crossing scenario. So that's why the T-72 and the BRDM and everything have the East German roundel on them. That wasn't just a random aesthetic choice, that's because it's reflective of the place that they're going to be fighting once we have the terrain done. The M60, it's the unit markings are very similar to something that would have been in Germany at the time, on the front of the hull. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, the vehicle numbers are randomized every time the mission starts. Even the M60, most of the designation doesn't change, but the final couple digits are randomly rolled every time. Just little details there. And that'll eventually be tied to mission parameters and stuff. It could be fixed, like these specific vehicle numbers are involved, but we'll get into that later.
To explain the Germans, British, etc., around the Fulda Gap is like it's kind of the southern. There were two kind of, well, I guess 3 areas of operation where, like in the south, they had mostly Germans and, West Germans and Americans. So West Germans would probably come next, and then in the northern plain they had Germans, British, Dutch, maybe some Belgians too. So that's, I guess, for like later, because we'd probably need to do a different map,
right?
If we're doing the real world areas.
Yeah, we get a lot of people who ask, when are you adding the Challenger and the Chieftain, and the answer is later. Unfortunately, they're not extremely relevant to the place and time that we've chosen for the first batch of stuff. So they're coming, but we're not working on them right now. You're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, my UK people. But
I want that Fox though, the armored car.
yeah,
Huge gun,
there's
man.
a lot of fun
Big iron.
stuff. I want the Weasel. We have to wait for all the cool stuff. We get told even about the Weasel fairly frequently. People will come into the Discord and be like, "Weasel when?" And we say soon.
We've talked up some of the crew damage stuff a little bit earlier.
Mhm.
What's going to happen with things like physical statuses, mental statuses, that sort of thing? If they're
I think I have a screenshot of this. We're going to have different status states for crew. You already saw when I tested the build, we had the wounded statuses based on what's physically happened to their bodies from damage, and that affects their performance. Right now, it just decides whether they can operate their position or not. There's going to be bleed damage. You'll need to do first aid if you want to stop them from getting progressively worse. And then we'll have some things like panic, like mental state stuff. Let me see if I can get this screenshot up. So there is...
Would a crew potentially bail?
Yeah, a crew can abandon the vehicle if it's not operable anymore, or if they're panicked or whatever, but we'll get into those mechanics. We'll kind of sort out how they work later on. So this is a snippet of the interface for the human code, and you can see there's like a list of body part hit zones that we have. There's different health states, there's stress statuses, and there's alert statuses. And some of the stuff like the stress and alert statuses is still being worked on, so it could change, but this is like an example of what we're looking at for representing the human element of the crew and their reactions to damage and other things that happen. And this will affect their performance of their duties. It'll affect like their scanning, for example. If they're not alert, they're going to be less observant. They're going to be less likely to notice you if you're passing through their optics. And so all this stuff will be configurable. A panicked crew might be shaken to the point of performing their duties less competently or making different decisions for risk taking. They might route, things like that. If you've played Wargame, you know that they have their crew status stuff, and we've played a bit of that too, and we kind of like some of the things they've done, so we have ideas, and we'll show that when it's ready.
There's a plan to do like almost personality traits and stuff as well, right? That are like
Eventually.
small status, but
Yeah.
something that's kind of like integral to the person, like, or the crewman.
Yes, that stuff is that's a way we could do persistence. So we could have like you have a specific crew that you take through multiple missions, and they have different traits personally that you can develop or assign them for. We still have to work out how we would do that though. One thing that I don't want is for crew to be like kind of grind mechanic, just like a point sync. My crew aren't very good at gunnery. I have to play a bunch of missions and then increase their gunnery stats, and it takes you a year. We don't want that to happen. We want it to be something cool, something enjoyable to do, and not feel like a limit that we've imposed on the game. So if you have somebody who's very good at a certain thing, you might want to put them in a certain role, and then you develop the skills of the crew. They gain cohesion over time, that working together, stuff like that. And remember, we are players of tank games, not just game developers, so we have tried everything. We know what feels cool and what feels like a drag, and we're going to try to avoid the latter when we make this stuff.
ManyMilesAway is asking about need for voice actors. He knows a few tankers.
Yeah, we're not actively looking yet because we're still not at the point of recording those lines, but if you do know people who are interested, send me a message and we'll see if we can get some stuff set up. We have to redo the voice line system entirely because the version of it that's in the public build was an early test. It only has a limited number of events that it can respond to, and the sequence is wrong. It's not exactly the way it should work in real life, but we have enough reference material and enough 19 kilos to talk to and stuff like that. We can actually do a much better job this time around, and we should be able to get a very authentic crew communication set up. And once we've got that in progress, we'll be looking for people to record the lines, and people who have actually done it in real life will be I think quite good for that. So good idea. Will you be adding anime voices? Nope. What was that, Harry?
I think it's kind of like important to say though, like a lot of people probably want to do some voice recording stuff, and that would be really cool. But it should be stated very clearly, it's not a small task. It's going to be like a lot of lines to read, and if a recording goes bad or something, we might get you to redo it. And it's probably going to be, I'm not sure if we talked about this, didn't we? Doing like every line, recording it in a few different mental states or whatever. So like a panicked version and a chill version or whatever.
Right. This isn't going to be just like sit there with your phone or your laptop mic and yell some stuff. It's going to be a very focused, probably long thing.
You have a script.
Yes, we'll have,
and have
all the
act.
lines written out. You'll have to do multiple versions of each one. And the actual acting, we defer to people's experience. If they're actual tankers, they know how they would say it. But the specific set of things to say and the way that we need them repeated in different ways, it's not going to be simple. It's going to be a bit. So it'll be like legitimate voice acting requirements.
Yeah,
so
especially
just keep that
like
in mind.
if they're in a if we do like combat state version of the voice lines, it's gonna be like I know people might have experience with like actually driving and all that kind of thing, but like acting is a skill, right? To actually make yourself sound like you're panicked or excited by something is kind of like you've got to be able to do that. It's hard to fake. Like if you listen to all the voice lines in Counter-Strike, it sounds like a dude in his basement trying not to wake his parents up or whatever, and we kind of want to avoid that, right?
Yeah, I suppose so, yes. Yeah, we don't want to have it feel forced.
Specific there.
Well, I don't know. It's got that hush, like, go, go, go. Like, it's just fun.
Where you can tell they're trying not to exceed the volume of the microphone or whatever.
Yeah. We've moved away from dunking on Gaijin to Counter-Strike.
Yeah. Yeah, Valve, that small company that never does anything right. Yeah.
We're going to take them down, man.
Yeah, so but that's coming later. That's not an immediate thing that's going to happen. That's just something that's on the roadmap.
Oh, another little point on the voice acting. It shouldn't matter if the mic isn't super good because I think we're going to put it through some filters for
Yes,
headsets, right?
that's
Anyway,
correct. It's
because
not
the
going to
80s
be
headsets probably sound like garbage anyway.
right. Like we won't have to get everybody to use a studio mic, but it has to at least sound okay. Because if it's already below the standard that we want to put it to, then it's going to sound off. Will there be alternative history scenarios? Yes, an invasion in the Fulda Gap is an alternative history scenario. So automatically yes. If you're asking about like wackier things than that, we'll see. There might be a way to choose the combatants when you do custom missions in such a way that you can do just ridiculous scenarios. That didn't make any sense.
Korean War 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yes. So we'll see. It's very likely that you'll have a high degree of flexibility, especially for user-created scenarios. But for the actual game, we're probably going to stick to near historical content, at least at first.
Ukraine campaign.
Can you do a Ukraine campaign? You can probably do that in real life if you want. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Right now we're sticking to 80s, so we'll develop past that once we get done with that.
It'll be like it'll be mostly guided by what we have, right? Like if the stuff we're making for, I think we picked Fulda Gap because it's got a lot of stuff that will be easily repurposed to a bunch of other scenarios. Like we could make maybe 1 or 2 extra things. Like we put some tan camo on these things, make a Hilux, and we've basically got enough to do Syria, right?
Right.
Like it's that kind of approach.
Yeah, we're basically developing what we have the vehicles for at any given time, vehicles and maps. So that kind of informs our decisions on what scenarios we can do. Okay, you just want a javelin missile? Beef jerky, if you play the public build and you solve the quest to find the Bob Simple, you can have your javelin missile.
What is this? Skyrim?
God.
Yep, you just gotta talk to Nazim and he'll tell you what to do.
Oh my god.
I took a javelin to the knee, man.
Oh.
Do you get to the Cloud District very often? What am I saying? Of course you don't. So, will you be able to turn out the crew? Yes, most likely, especially the commander, if he's going to use the heavy machine gun.
We have crew models, it's just I'm not very good at animating, so it's going to take a while.
We'll get
you
there.
Hush, Harry. You're great at animating.
Find us an animator, it might go faster.
Oh, that's true.
Let's see, where's my picture of the machine gun?
Oh, is it a GIF?
No.
GIF?
I don't have that saved. You talking about the 50?
I'll send it to the patrons so they can get excited.
Yeah.
I got it in here somewhere.
But we do have the DShKM on the T55
I didn't even know about that. When did you even do that?
yesterday.
Oh my god.
We've been doing a lot.
We've got an ArtStation link for that. I think we linked it in the last stream though.
Yeah.
Not ArtStation, sorry, Sketchfab.
Right. Does that have all the materials and everything on it too?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Hang on, I'll get you a link.
All right. You could drop it in the Twitch chat too, actually.
Yeah, I'll do it. I think we linked it in the last stream, but there might be people who aren't, who weren't in the last one.
Will tanks
You
keep
wanna look at
moving
the
if the
DShKM
ammo
code.
gets wrecked? If the crew aren't affecting the controls, yes. So the thing is, when crew get damaged, they have the potential to lose control of the controls, kind of. Like if the driver's killed at the wheel, the steering input could change. So the tank might do something wacky if the ammo is hit, even if the engine isn't destroyed immediately. If the crew are affected, they could steer it or stop or whatever. Should I show the pilot getting affected?
What pilot?
Yeah, what
I
pilot?
know what you're talking
Exactly. Okay, so just take it from me. We've done some testing and on like crew inputs changing with damage, and it works pretty well. So you'll see that.
Are you gonna go for like they take longer to respond to instructions and stuff like that, or like what kind of direction?
Oh, if they're damaged?
Yeah, I don't actually know the answer to that question.
We'll see how it goes. It's likely that it will affect them. So one of the reasons I have the limbs separated, it's not just for lethality purposes. It's the fact that you need certain limbs to be working to operate certain systems. So if the gunner loses both his arms, he's not going to be aiming or doing anything. And that's actually going to be tracked. So, if the driver loses his legs and it's a tank that has foot pedals, those are not going to be usable. The damage will matter in depth, very granular. Nose aim, yes, if only. It's one thing that they never thought of adding. Secret weapon that would have won World War III. Hey, I found the UH-1C model. It's actually UH-1H. Is that right? Anyway.
Yeah, with a thermal covering on the exhaust, so it doesn't look like a Vietnam.
Yes, and a flare pod that I added to it just for fun, to test the stabilization.
Oh yeah, you added stuff to it. So
yeah, just the nose pod, just the camera. The rest of it is your model.
I don't actually know that much about helicopters. We could do with some helicopter advisors. Like, I'm looking at pictures of UH-1Hs and just kind of, making what I see, but I don't know what to look for in terms of equipment, really.
Right. Can I recreate the scene from Fury where the guy gets his head shot off by a tank round? We'll see. You can definitely have them unbuttoned and get them hit. We don't know how in depth the physical damage will look. Machine guns. Are you asking for machine guns? Because the coax is in the Patreon build. On every vehicle. They all have machine guns. And they will have the roof guns eventually.
Yeah. First person sort of animated ones or whatever.
Oh, machine guns on the helicopter. The ones that had them will have machine guns. The thing about the helicopters, we have to do AI because they won't be flyable. So, like right now, I've been flying them in development because it's the only way to make them move right now. But once I make AI to fly them, they will be kind of self-directed. And so they have to be taught via code to do things like strafing, rocket attacks, pop-up, guided missiles, whatever, the whole thing. None of it happens automatically. I have to make kind of an algorithm or a procedure for letting the computer crew do all of those functions. So it takes a bit to get it working. That's why I don't have a helicopter in the build right now, because they don't know how to fly themselves yet. Or else I'd probably have one flying around the outside just, for scenery or something. But eventually we'll get stuff like that.
Yep, it's gonna be nice shooting down helicopters with the DShKM and stuff.
Yeah, and then eventually with the VADs and the Shilka and all of those fun things. I can't even imagine how hard coding AI is. Yeah, it's very in-depth. You can have simple AI that's just, if this, do that, and then you start to be able to poke holes in it, and you can see, oh, okay, if I do this, they'll do this. If I do that, they won't notice me. You can figure out exactly how it works. Getting convincing AI, where you play against them and you say, wow, this is tough, they feel like they're clever, that's the real magic, and that takes a lot of effort. We're going to try to achieve that. The public build didn't have it. It had very simple, limited AI abilities. We're doing new stuff for this. It's not going to be all done in one go, too. So when we do a patch and we say, hey, there's AI now, you can fight another tank, that's not going to be the final iteration of AI. That'll just be, it got good enough to where you could do that. We release it for you to play with, and then we keep working on it. It's all iterative. That's part of this early access kind of thing. Okay, stream has gone 20 minutes past what I planned for, so everybody, thank you for watching. If you did not catch the whole stream, you can watch it on Twitch immediately afterward, on the video on demand, and we're also going to upload the VOD to YouTube. The YouTube channel is called GHPC, can't miss it. And it will be annotated on YouTube. Twitch VODs will get deleted after a certain time because we're not a high enough level or whatever on Twitch to keep them forever. You can clip things if you want to keep them permanently. Otherwise, the whole thing will be on YouTube with chapters and the description and everything. You'll be able to catch it there within the next couple of days. Link to the YouTube. Let's see if I can get a channel link.
How are people in here without links to the YouTube?
Well,
Do we pick up randoms in here, or what's the deal?
I don't know. The thing about the YouTube is you can find it on YouTube by just searching Gunner Heat PC.
Don't be lazy.
Okay, let me find the link to my channel.
Kitsune Legend, great idea. Thank you.
What was the idea?
Link to the YouTube.
Oh. Oh, a new topic. Nope, never mind. Let's see. Gunner Heat PC. The channel is a bunch of letters. I will drop it in the chat. There you go. If you click that and click subscribe, you will be alerted to any new trailers, stream recordings, whatever kind of material we put up there.
Would you say they should smash the subscribe button?
I would say you should smash the subscribe button, ring that bell, break the website, you know, whatever it takes.
Let's shoot for 100,000 likes,
Uh-huh.
guys. Let's go.
If we get 3 likes on the video, we'll drop a patch today.
I'm sorry, what?
So we've been using Squarespace.
Sponsored by Raid Shadow
Or
Legends.
VPN.
Have you heard of this game? Let me read the script about how much I like it. Okay. Anyway, I think that's the end of the stream. Gotta go before the advertising cops get me. So everybody, thank you for coming, and we will see you next time. Make sure you follow along on our Discord so you don't miss anything. And yeah, we'll be back.